advantages to being the worldwide leader. You get to go to Disney World for free, if you're into that. And then, of course, we have Woj, our ESPN senior insider, and you know more than basically everybody.
I want to take the trip to Disney.
You don't, or you do?
No, I said you might want to take the trip to Disney.
It's raining. Can't even operate right now. Okay, let me ask you this. Mavericks, why are they looking to trade Dennis Smith Jr. in year 2?
A couple reasons. One, he and Rick Carlisle, their coach, have not been on the same page. I think he's been frustrated with his decision-making, maturity, and then the emergence of Luka Doncic. He's their playmaker now, and those two have not been productive together. They've seen, a much better pairing at times with Doncic and Jalen Brunson, the rookie from Villanova, who Carlisle is very fond of. And this roster is going to be built around Luka Doncic. That's how they're looking at their future. So he's been made available. They've had significant amount of talks, and they sat him for 3 games with what they're calling a back injury. Now they're saying he's sick. And I think the plan there is maybe he stays off the court until they can find a trade for him.
Does that surprise you at all, Stan, so early on in this kid's career?
No, not at all, because I think, he doesn't fit with Doncic, or at least they don't think he does, and that guy's going to have the ball in his hands all the time. So probably putting more shooting around him and not a guy who wants to go on his own as much, maybe fit better with them.
I'm a little surprised because I thought he was one of the better point guards coming out. Everybody talk about he could have been picked over Lonzo Ball or De'Aaron Fox. I mean, he's shown some talent out there. So, we don't know what his potential going to be, but he's a great athlete. He's still learning the game. So, I don't know, would you let him develop? And how much could you get for a rookie of this caliber on this contract anyway?
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to figure out. Orlando's a team. They need help at that point guard position. And is there a package in Orlando, maybe with a player who's got years and money left on his contract, maybe one of their younger players? And one thing Dallas would like to do in any deal with Dennis Smith, could they attach Wes Matthews and his expiring contract to it?
I want to keep talking about trade deadline because that's obviously something we all are waiting on the calendar here. Pelicans. Where are they as far as positioning themselves as we get closer? Yeah,
they want to continue to try to improve this team to convince Anthony Davis to stay there. Del Demps, their GM, he told me, listen, we've won 2 or 3 games since we've gotten healthier. Nico Mirotic is back, Elfrid Payton, point guard, and he hasn't had a chance this year to really evaluate their whole group together. They've had a lot of injuries. They don't have a very long window to do that between now and the February 7th trade deadline. Rich Paul, Anthony Davis's agent, told me, they have not had any real substantial discussions about Anthony's future in New Orleans with the Pelicans. That Anthony's focus has been on, let's get this team back in. They're 2.5 games out of 8th place in the West. Let's try to get this, let's try to get the group back into the playoff picture. But there's no promises about his future beyond the trade deadline. I think it's safe to say right now, I think he'll be there certainly through the trade deadline. New Orleans does not want to trade him, and they're going to have to be forced into doing that. But their focus is, can we find another deal? Mirotic last year, really, that deal helped that team at the deadline. I don't know if that deal's out there for them, but they're trying to find one.
It's a stressful job.
Look, I sort of, the New Orleans thing as far as the talent around him is interesting to me. So they've got Drew Holiday having a career year. He's averaging over 20 points and 8 assists. They've got Julius Randle averaging 20 points and 9 rebounds. Peyton's been out, but they're 10-3 when he plays. To me, it's not as much a talent issue as get that whole group together, guard somebody, and guard somebody. You're 4th in the league offensively, regardless of all of the injuries. That should put you firmly into the playoff race.
25th
but you're 25th defensively.
Yikes.
Forget all this talk about talent, and as a group, commit to trying to stop someone.
And listen, that's what that team did, especially in that playoff series with Portland last year. They were the last, 2/3 of the season, they were among the better defensive teams in the league, and you saw the way they went at Portland and, swept them in a series that, I think people certainly thought was going to be a long series. That group is capable, and like Stan says, I think the health and getting a chance, to see what they can be together before they've got to make a decision here at the trade deadline.
I think not having Rondo really impacted that team.
Oh, I think he's more valuable than people realize. Roach, love having you in studio. Move to the West Coast. Our NBA Saturday games, oh, that's right, they are upon us. Presented by HyperX Gaming on ABC. Begin this week, Thunder, Sixers, 3:30 Eastern. And then in our primetime game at 8:30 Eastern, it's the Lakers taking on the Rockets. Like everything else, you can also find everything on the app, which means you can watch it anywhere. I know. We're working this weekend, Paul. I hope you remembered that. Terry Rozier says the Celtics are, quote, too talented, fifth in the East, too talented. That talent will be tested against the first-place team Raptors, top of the hour.